Bowl games have become increasingly less important in recent years, and I think justifiably so. For the overwhelming majority of their history, they have really truly been exhibitions that didn't matter, that we pretended that mattered until the college football playoff came along, unless it was an opportunity to move up to win the national championship in the AP poll era. Bowl games didn't matter. We just pretended that they did, that it was a prestigious event to get to go to. And it was when there were only, 5, 6, 7, 8 bowl games. Yes, they were prestigious events to go to. But at the end of the day, unless you could move up 2 spots in the Associated Press poll to win the national championship, it really didn't matter. And so now that you've got this influx of bowl games where and I will die on this hill. I'll never be one of the people that say there are too many bowl games, because when the options on like a Tuesday, December 19th at 12:30 in the afternoon, and the options are you could watch like Coastal Carolina versus Toledo or the Bold and the Beautiful. It's a pretty easy decision, honestly. I will pound the table that there should be more afternoon sporting events, but that's neither here nor there. Now that there are a million bowl games, everybody's got to do what they've got to do to get in front of more people, get more attention, more notoriety. And it really, like, there is almost is there like a minor league baseball aspect of bowl games where you got to do something wacky, zany, out of the box to get people to pay attention to you. And that's how you get the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dr. Dre and Snoop. That came out yesterday, that the Arizona Bowl, which had been the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, which in its own right is an attention-grabbing, out-of-the-box thought, sponsored by a digital media outlet that is viewed as controversial and forward-thinking and everything that has to do with getting more attention and notoriety, and then broadcasting on that platform with 2 of the biggest podcast hosts and some of the biggest digital sports media folks as part of the broadcast. Because you got to do something different. You got to do something unique, something interesting, something to get people talking about you and interested in your product. And the Barstool Sports sponsorship went away. And so I give the Arizona Bowl a bunch of credit, because instead of going, okay, maybe that didn't work, maybe that wasn't the best idea, or whatever the case may be, and they might not feel that way. It might just be a strict money thing of like, hey, the dollars just didn't work out for us for either side, and we're going to go somewhere else. In comes the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, because you know what? The Arizona Bowl doesn't have the world's greatest bowl tie-ins, right? It doesn't have the brand recognition, name power behind it that you might expect from a quote unquote big time bowl game. It's not going to have SEC versus Big Ten or ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, whatever the case may be. The Arizona Bowl has been and is going to continue to most likely be a lower tier bowl game. And when you are a lower tier bowl game, it doesn't always necessarily go in your favor that people are just over the moon to get, especially the players, maybe the fans, to go to the Arizona Bowl. I don't know that on the list of, hey, we're going to go to the bowl location destinations, that Tucson, Arizona is going to be one that's going to get people jumping for joy. But when it was the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, players are excited. They know Barstool Big Cat and PFT and Dave Portnoy, KFC. They know those people. It excites them. You know who college football players also know? Dr. Drake and Snoop Dogg. Dr. Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole. It's all. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg is going to get people excited to go to the Arizona Bowl. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg being more than likely at the Arizona Bowl is going to increase attendance. If Snoop Dogg can do meet and greets with people and do appearances alongside Dr. Dre before the Arizona Bowl, it's going to be a really big deal. And you know what? That's going to elevate it in some people's eyes above the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, because if your options are Dr. Dre and Snoop or Tony the Tiger, it's going to be Dr. Dre and Snoop. So I give the Arizona Bowl a bunch of credit, and I think more bowl games should do things like this. Take the minor league baseball approach of, you know what, we're going to do what we got to do to market ourselves, to get attention, to get people in the door, and whatever wacky, zany ideas we have to do so, to make it a fun, entertaining, interesting environment for the players, for the coaches, for the athletic departments, for the old rich old white guys that are on the boards that make up these bowl games. If your options are, hey, we can be the Arizona Bowl that is played on a Saturday in mid-December at 2:30 p.m. on a cable channel that not many people get, and we get teams that nobody really cares about in the grand scheme of things. Who does that really benefit? Who gets a whole lot out of that? Not many folks. All right. Well, you know what? Like, the Tucson, Arizona community gets a lot out of the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice by Dr. Dre and Snoop. They get a lot out of that. Because you know what? The chances of Dr. Dre and Snoop coming to Tucson, Arizona probably weren't all that high before the Arizona Bowl. And I would bet you dollars to donuts that I'm spending more time right now talking about the Arizona Bowl than I would have in virtually any other situation or scenario. Why? Because they were willing to do what needed to be done to get people paying attention to them. And when you're in that situation, you can either take yourself really, really seriously and stay kind of at the bottom of the totem pole where people aren't all that interested in you because you take yourself really, really seriously. Or you can have a little fun. And college football is supposed to be fun. Bowl games are supposed to be fun. If they're going to pound the table that these are rewards for players. You know what's a really cool reward? Snoop and Dr. Dre. And so if you're going to go through the college football season, and especially if you're a cold weather team, getting to go to Arizona in December, getting to be where it's nice and warm. And oh, by the way, you're going to meet two rap icons potentially. That makes that bowl game really cool, really interesting, and really worth it. So I hope more bowl games, I hope more events take the thought process that the Arizona Bowl has and is willing to just say, we're going to do what we need to do to gain attention, gain brand recognition, get people talking about us. Because ultimately, that's what you're trying to do with the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl is you want people paying attention to you. Now, the Rose Bowl will probably balk at the idea of being sponsored by Dr. Dre and Snoop. But you know what? That probably doesn't matter. Because when you can't just bill yourself as come to this event because it's a really good football game, you got to do more than that. And it's the same thing that NASCAR deals with right now. Like, it used to just be like, hey, the racing is really cool. Well, now people want events, people want experiences. And you know what's a really cool experience? Dr. Dre and Snoop. So I give all the credit in the world to the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. I give all the credit to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. I give the credit to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. If you've got the opportunity to do something cool, do it. And I think the Arizona Bowl did that this week. And I hope more events recognize themselves as not just a football game, but and experience. You're in the experience business. You're in the fan business. You're in the football business. You're in the entertainment business. If you can find a way to mix all four of them, I think the sport, the community, the bowls are better off for it. Now, I don't think everybody. I don't want to see a Morgan Wallen bowl or a Hulk Hogan Gasparilla bowl or something. I don't know that when you see that, but if you have an opportunity to give your fans, your community, some college football players a cool experience, I think it's a good idea to do so. So kudos, tip of the cap to the Arizona Bowl for doing something pretty cool. Hopefully it's the first and not the last. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content that we're pumping out here on Saturday Glory. If you are listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It really helps out the channel. Catch you tomorrow for more college football talk here on the Daily Huddle from Saturday Glory.